everybody, and a very warm welcome to the circuit to Barcelona, Catalonia, for the final event of the 2017 Euroformula Open season. The championship has been decided in favour of Harrison Scott. Nikita Troitsky has claimed the rookie crown, but there is still a lot to race for throughout the field, as we've got two 18-lap races to look forward to this weekend. Well, you join myself, Ben Evans, on a beautiful afternoon here. The chilly start to the day has blown away, and it's now glorious autumnal sunshine, just over 20 degrees, and therefore ideal conditions not only to go motor racing, but also to enjoy watching the action of the Euroformula Open as well. Pit lane has just opened and the cars are heading to the grid, where it's one of our new entrants for this weekend, Felipe Drugovich, who has taken pole position. The Brazilian has been very quick in German Formula 4 this year, snatching pole from Nikita Troitsky. Another driver who is making his championship debut this weekend is Lorenzo Colombo for the Campos team, the Italian who was quickest in free practice yesterday, able to line up in fourth position for today's race, just behind Devlin De Francesco on the second row of the grid. Christian Hahn already in position on the grid, one of the three Trivex entries, but not the easiest of qualifying sessions for Hahn as he lines up in 20th. Well, the main championship fight to watch for this weekend is that for third in the standings. It's currently Yanni Fitcher who has got third position, but he's just a handful of points ahead of both Devlin De Francesco and Amaya Weidenathan. And from qualifying this morning, it was De Francesco who had got the upper hand, laying up in third. It's the grid starting to form. Thiago Vivacqua, one of just three drivers to have won a race this year in the Euroformula Open. Harrison Scott having won 12 of the 14 encounters thus far. Vivacqua victorious at Hungaroring, and also Weidenathan in Spa. Harrison Scott, due to his commitments in the McLaren Autosport the RDC Young Driver Award, unable to take part this weekend, and it means that leaves the door wide open for somebody else to claim race victories. We've got three new entrants this weekend in the form of Joey Mawson, Lorenzo Colombo and Felipe Drugovich, and all three of those drivers will neither score nor block points. So that means, with an eye towards championship points, if Drugovich were to win the race, for example, it'd be Nikita Troitsky who would still get the 25 points for the victory if he were to finish in second position. It's good qualifying for Cameron Dass, the American, one of the Campos quintet, with to line up in ninth position, sharing the fifth row of the grid with his teammate Simo Laaksonen. Lorenzo Colombo being the foremost of the Campos runners. So there is our pole sitter, Felipe Drugovich. Drugovich making the step up from Formula 4 and very impressive throughout qualifying. He's really the quickest car all the way through the session. For Nikita Troitsky, will this be a first win of the season for the Russian? He has been on the podium so often this year, so many second places to his credit. And here at the Circuit of Barcelona, Catalonia, if you get off the line well and lead into turn one, it can be difficult to be overhauled. Devlin De Francesco, another driver looking for a maiden victory. He's had lots of rookie wins along the way, many second places as well. And he will look to progress from third. Lorenzo Colombo, very impressive debut weekend for the Italian. He finished third in the Italian Formula 4 Championship, immediately stepping up in terms of power and grip and relishing the performance of the car. For Amaya Weidenathan, it's been a little bit of a season of two halves. Very, very quick out of the blocks at the start of the year. Was the main championship rival to Harrison Scott through the first three or so events, but thereafter podiums have been slightly harder to come by. This weekend there might be the opportunity to get back on to the rostrum. Alex Karkozik lines up in sixth position, the Polish driver, eighth in the championship. He's had one podium to his credit this year. That came at Silverstone, but results, particularly through the second half of the year, don't really truly reflect the pole's pace. Yanni Fitcher, though, has had a resurgent second half of the year. He's had three podiums in the last 5 races, and a best result of second place coming in Monza. Joey Mawson, the 2016 German Formula 4 champion, not had the easiest year in European Formula 3 this year, but with BVM this weekend, the Euroformula Open, what can he do? Although from 8th on the grid, it's going to be hard work to get onto the podium. Cameron Dass focused on the job ahead, lining up from 9th position. And then starting in 10th, I think it'll be a little bit disappointing to be there, is Simo Laaksonen, his Finnish teammate, who again, since the Hungaroring, has been one of the quickest drivers in the field. Scored a couple of podiums along the way. As the grid just starting to be cleared, a few moments away from start of the race. It's going to be 17 laps, or if we do get the introduction of a safety car, that would revert to a 35-minute time limit. So the countdown well underway. Here's the grid in full. Felipe Drugovich and Nikita Troitsky on the front row. Then Devlin De Francesco and Renzo Colombo, row 2. Meir Weidenreich and Alex Karkozik on row 3, ahead of Yanni Fitcher and Joey Mawson. 5th row of the grid, all Campos, Cameron Dass and Simo Laaksonen. Row 6, all Brazilian, Guilherme Samaya and Mateus Iorio. On the 7th row of the grid, Thiago Vivacqua and Ben Hingley, both drivers who can progress up through the order. Vico Laurini well up with 15th in qualifying, ahead of Tarun Reddy. Eliseo Martinez and Pedro Cardoso and all Teo Martin Motorsport, row 9, clear of Petru Florescu and Christian Hahn, with the grid completed by Daniel Pranenko. But again, the time split through the field, minimal through the course of qualifying. And with the field so tightly bunched, anything can happen. This circuit to Barcelona, Catalunya, can be a tricky place to overtake, but there are opportunities into turn 1, into turns 4 and 5, into turn 10 as well. It's Teo Martin, which is progress. The grid now emptying out. So the last couple of mechanics about to clear away from the grid, getting ready for the start of the 15th race of the Euroformula Open Championship. Should be in for another very entertaining battle, with the champion Harrison Scott here, not here this weekend. The field is thrown wide open. It's the cars firing up. They've just got the pace lap to see how the track has changed since qualifying earlier on. And then it will be time to go racing. Everybody cleared from the grid. They'll then get the 15-second signal and be waved off on the green flag lap, just making sure nobody's in trouble at the back of the field. That would certainly seem to be the case. All calm in the Campos pit box for now, at least. Waiting for the signal, that green flag, to send the cars off onto the formation lap, which is given now. Felipe Drugovich leads them away, spins up the tyres, accelerates down towards turn 1. Of course, all the drivers equipped with the Dallara F312 chassis. They all have the control engine and run on the control compound Michelin tyre. Means it all comes down to those small tweaks in setup that they can make to the car, and also what the drivers are able to extract from their package. And getting the right setup here, Barcelona circuit, always so difficult, because you need the car to be relatively slippery down the very long start and finish straight. At the same time, you've got lots of long radius mid-speed corners where you really need that aerodynamic grip to be working for you. It is a motorsport parlance, it's a technical circuit, this one, but it's also one which is really very dynamic. You maybe don't get the impression from that sometimes from the television, but the challenge that this track presents both to the drivers and the engineers to get the cars working well really is quite something. And there is Joey Mawson. Be really interested to see how he can progress in the BVM car over the course of the race. The Australian comes very, very highly regarded. He's not had the easiest 2017 seasons. There's still something of a rising start. For Yanni Fitcher, currently third in the championship coming into the race. He needs to have a good start and try and take some points off both Devlin DeFrancesco and Amaya Vaidyanathan, because we've only got 6 points covering the three of them. Fitcher on 137 points, DeFrancesco on 132, Vaidyanathan on 131. So the field all slow down through the chicane, and then on towards turn 16, back to the starting grid. Filipe Drugovich doesn't want to wait there too long, because one of the challenges for any new driver stepping in to the Euroformula Open is getting the car away from the line. Formula 3 cars have always been notoriously difficult to get a clean launch with. Drugovich rolls along to his grid marks. It's a long drag as well towards turn 1 here. So a good getaway is absolutely key compared to Jerez a few weeks ago, where even a bad start was easily defendable to the first corner. That's not the case. If you get a good launch from one of the first couple of rows, you've got every opportunity of leading by the time you reach the opening sequence of turns. Will this be a second victory of the season for Carlin, or indeed Campos? Once Daniel Pranenko is in position, we'll get the signal and we will go racing for the penultimate time in 2017. The last few cars coming to their marks. Petru Frescu and Christian Hahn in position. So is Daniel Pranenko. Green flag from the marshal at the rear of the pack. Eyes to the gantry as we wait for the red lights to come on, which they do now. Who's going to get the jump as away we go? And it's a good start, a brilliant start from Drugovich, a terrible start from Nikita Troitsky, and he has boxed in Lorenzo Colombo as well as Joey Mawson gets pushed onto the grass. It's Drugovich who leads from DeFrancesco and Vaidyanathan as they head towards turn 1. And it's Lorenzo Colombo who's lost out the most of everybody. He is being shuffled a long, long way down through the pack as they're all cleanly through the first couple of turns. Just about. Yanni Fitcher challenges Nikita Troitsky through turn 3. Oh, lots of squabbling behind, very aggressive stuff as Colombo tries to dart through. Whoa, and one car in trouble, and it's Ben Hingley who goes off into the gravel. He has been joined by somebody else as well. We'll try and pick up who that is momentarily. I think it could have been Tarun Reddy. As the front of the field swoop downhill, Drugovich leads from DeFrancesco and Vaidyanathan. Joey Mawson looks to gain some ground, darts the inside of Cameron Dass, runs wide though, coming out of turn 8. It's going to leave him compromised into turn 9. Tiago Vivacqua, the principal beneficiary, as they swing on downhill towards turn 10. Guilherme Samar under pressure from Colombo. Colombo darts past him. Behind, we've got Mawson in this gaggle of Campos cars. Very, very aggressive dicing in the early stages. It was indeed Ben Hingley and Tarun Reddy who we lost over at turn 4. It's the leading group of cars jink through the chicane. So then this fight lower down the order, which is absolutely ferocious. Those are the two cars in bother. We've still got the yellow flag out. No indication yet of a safety car. Meanwhile, Alex Karkozic and Yanni Fitcher doing battle further down the field. They're fighting over 5th and 6th as Karkozic goes around the outside of his teammate, swoops through and gains the position. But as things currently stand, Devlin DeFrancesco will move up to 3rd in the championship because he would get the 25 points for the race victory, with Filipe Drugovich neither scoring nor blocking points in the lead. Behind, some pretty Tenacious dicing. Pedro Cardoso in the thick of it. Now here, off the line, Troitsky bogs down on the left of the picture. Colombo, nowhere to go, gets boxed in. And in turn, that serves to really bunch the field up. Yanni Fitcher edges Joey Mawson towards the grass. Mawson rejoins, but has now been shuffled into the midfield. 4 or so wide through the first turn. Fortunately, they make it through in more or less one piece. It's good news for the Carlin team. But then, it was a coming together between Tarun Reddy and Ben Hingley, with Reddy being launched up into the air. So disappointing for the pair of them. Front of the field, though, it's Drugovic who leads downhill. Just jinks through the chicane towards the end of lap 2. Trying to come onto his tail is Devlin De Francesco. Meir Weidenathan is there in third. That leading trio covered by just 2 seconds. But now the real challenge here for Drugovic is that Devlin De Francesco knows how this Michelin tyre evolves during the race. It's an unknown quantity for the Brazilian, as Mateus Iorio under real pressure from teammate Lorenzo Colombo. And Colombo looks to the inside, and he's going to gain the place and slithers through into 7th position. Textbook Barcelona move. Got the toe. And there is a little bit of a breeze down the start and finish straight today. Well, Devlin De Francesco now only 7/10 back from Felipe Drugovic, so he's starting to wind up the pressure a little bit. And Fitcher, the next driver to come under the attentions of Lorenzo Colombo. Classification then: Drugovic, De Francesco, Weidenathan, Troitsky, Karkozik, Fitcher, Colombo and Iorio. Meanwhile, Daniel Pranenko and Lodovico Laurini going wheel to wheel. It's Laurini who benefits. Also, Eliseo Martinez. And the other driver who is coming on very strong is in 4th place, Nikita Troitsky. Didn't have a good start, but he survived the opening few turns, and now he's in 4th. He's the quickest man in the race. Last lap of 1 minute 40.7. So this could be very interesting. Drugovic embroils himself in battle with Devlin De Francesco, begins to back that leading quartet up. Lorenzo Colombo already having chased down Yanni Fitcher. Now what can Colombo do this time around? Suggestion is probably not an awful lot for Joey Mawson. Frustrating. He is down 11th. Nikita Troitsky, another very quick lap of 1 minute 40.3. Colombo, though, the quickest driver in the race, 1 minute 40.2. And this is immensely frustrating, one would imagine, for the Italian, because but for being caught behind Troitsky at the start, he'd have been up there fighting for a podium. Still could, but he's got a lot of cars to clear in the interim. That said, the field spread isn't that great. It's only 5.7 seconds covering the leading 7 cars. And the leading quartet separated by just 2.3 seconds. Devlin De Francesco pursues Felipe Drugovic. Meir Weidenathan in 3rd. Weidenathan in pursuit of his first trip to the rostrum since Paul Ricard. Into the final sector of the lap on lap 4 of 17, the penultimate race of the Euroformula Open season. Circuit to Barcelona, Catalunya, swooping downhill, our race leader. It's got Devlin De Francesco all over his tail. De Francesco a little bit cleaner through the chicane, but we're talking about hundredths of a second here or there. It means there's nothing that De Francesco is going to be able to do this time around. What he's able to do, though, is stay right in the tow behind the Brazilian. Let the RP Motorsport car punch the hole through the air. Also flying, now he's in clear air, is Alex Karkozik, and it's Karkozik who's just set the fast lap of the race. Lodovico Laurini rejoins after some sort of adventure. Simo Laaksonen and Pedro Cardoso busy fighting over 13th and 14th. That's a place gained for Laaksonen as they arrived into turn 1. They're all trying to chase down Matteo Iorio. Some really intense battles through the field. All these drivers wanting to go into the winter on a high note, with a good result. Joey Mawson tucked up right underneath the rear spoiler of Thiago Vivacqua. And there is the moment for Lodovico Larinha. That is a big spin. Great illustration of what happens when the aerodynamic grip cries enough. Now the leading quintet are all closing up onto each other. Karkozic in 5th, just set the fastest lap of the race, so he is a little bit closer to Nikita Troitsky. Ben Hingley would far rather be driving this race rather than watching it. This has not been a bad lap at all for Felipe Drugovich, and as they come to the end of it, just wonder if his advantage over Devlin De Francesco will have gone out a little bit. Nikita Troitsky inching ever closer to Amaya Weidenreuthen, and at this rate of capture, it's not going to be too long before Troitsky gets a run at Weidenreuthen. Camera angle just shortens the gap between them a little bit. Is Troitsky going to be near enough, though, to challenge into turn 1? It's going to be a bit of a lunge if he does so. He's not quite near enough. Another half of a car length, and it would certainly have been worth a nibble. Instead, the Russian pursues the Indian uphill out of turn 2, swooping through turn 3. They use the downforce to press the cars into the road. Turn 4. Around the hairpin, on towards turn 5. The left-hander, Camber, sucks the cars in and then just slithers them out towards the edge of the road before they sprint onwards. Now, replay, Joey Mawson wheel to wheel with Carroll. Oh, no! Contact between Mawson and Das, and they just didn't leave each other enough space. And that could have been an awful lot bigger than it turned out. Over-aggressive driving, arguably, and maybe just not quite being aware of how near they were to the others. Obviously, there was that iconic moment here in 1991 between Ayrton Senna and Nigel Mansell, and that was possibly not the greatest recreation of it. So, into the chicane at the end of another lap now. Have we got yellow flag at turn 1? Yes, we do. So that is going to take away the opportunity for Nikita Troitsky, much to Russian's frustration, because again, he's right with Amaya Weidenreuthen. So here they come, down the front straight. There is the waved yellow flag. I'm not sure that Lorenzo Colombo and Yanni Fitcher have seen it. Cameron Das vacating the cockpit. He's crouching in there, it would appear, just because he's trying to reattach the steering wheel rather than any injury that would have picked up. Now, the leading group of cars, they're all bunching up still, and the safety car comes out. So the race is going to be neutralised. The safety car is scrambled. Oh, as Drugovich goes off. Felipe Drugovich, the race leader, just as the safety car comes out, goes off at turn 4. Unbelievable turn of events. What happened there as he rejoins, having been in perfect command of the race? And that is a catastrophic error. The RP Motorsport team can't quite believe what has happened. It promotes Devlin De Francesco to the lead. And we'll see if we can... We only saw the end of the move. Just wonder what happened to provoke it. And Drugovich has rejoined in 12th position or thereabouts. So now here is the opportunity for Devlin De Francesco to take a first victory of the season. The driver, though, who was looking the quickest of that leading group was Nikita Troitsky. And this is something of a voyage into the unknown for all these drivers, because it's been Harrison Scott who has been leading them away post-safety car throughout the majority of this season. As now they catch the safety car. Felipe Drugovich is down in 12th. Now that's the reason for the safety car. Joey Mawson right at the edge of the circuit. If anything, it's dangerous for the marshals to recover the car from there. If anything were to happen to somebody else and they cannoned into the BVM machine, then that would also be bad news. Now, there's an argument it's going to take a little bit more than dragging away, given the front suspension was somewhat deranged. So the classification is De Francesco leads, Amea Weidenreuthen is second, Nikita Troitsky third, fourth is Alex Karkozik, fifth Yanni Fitcher. Now here's the coming together between Cameron Dass and Joey Mawson. Just not entirely sure the American was quite sighted as to where Mawson was. Interlocking wheels now. There is the end of the moment for Drugovic. And something went badly wrong. Whether or not that was a driver error or a mechanical issue, we'll find out after the event. What is for certain, though, is that Drugovic, who had been in total control of the race, has seen a shot at victory for today at least go away from him. So this is now advantage Carlin, but with Nikita Troitsky and Alex Karkozik in third and fourth, having been very sprightly in the course, Lorenzo Colombo in sixth, who has been the quickest driver in the race and has still got the fastest lap to his credit. We're on lap 8 of the race. The first couple of laps behind the safety car will get credited as additional laps to the race distance. Wait to see when the safety car is going to come in. Unfortunately, the recovery work over at turn 1 is just out of the line of sight from our commentary box, and that means that we can't see when the work is going to be completed. However, as they come towards the end of the second sector, if the safety car was going to come in on this lap, it would have been signalled so already. So at least one more lap to go behind the safety car. In many respects, bunching the field up like this, it's going to give us some more brilliant dicing, because there was some really tenacious and tough battling going on all the way through the field. So a couple of drivers like Nikita Troitsky, like Lorenzo Colombo, who may well be able to take advantage of some of those gaps being closed down. But also for Devlin De Francesco, a good safety car restart here could just buy him the gap that he needs over Amea Weidenreuthen to move on to take victory. In terms of the race clock, we have got just under 20 minutes to run. So hopefully this one is going to go to laps rather than laps time. We should be out to 19 laps of the 2 laps behind the safety car, as Nikita Troitsky, interestingly, not weaving around at all toward the Michelin tire. Now that shot is very instructive, because it tells us that the recovery of Joey Mawson's car has been completed, so we should see the safety car coming in on this occasion. And then it will be all about the point at which Devlin De Francesco chooses to pull the pin. Typically here, it's coming out of that final chicane, bunch the field up, anticipate the acceleration, and hopefully build a little bit of a buffer. So we are on the 9th lap of the race. So all things being equal, we should still get 10 racing laps to go. Fortec team following the progress of Petru Florescu, who has come up to 14th place as a result of all the adventures around him. So confirmation, 2 laps added to the race distance. Now is the safety car going to be in at the end of this lap? That's the next question. Just thinking about where else on the track there are errant cars that we might want to get removed. No, confirmation the safety car is in on this lap. So the race about to get underway. Will De Francesco be able to get the restart that he wants, or will this open the door to Weidenheithen, Troitsky or others? What can Lorenzo Colombo do from 6th? He is currently the fastest driver in the race. De Francesco backs them all up into turn 10. Let's hope none of them zig when another zags, and avoid any comings together. So De Francesco, he can't pull the pin and go at this point, but what he can do is give the safety car plenty of space so that when the Canadian decides it's time to get the race back underway, he can do so without the risk of catching the safety car. So the field bunched to what almost appears to be walking pace through turn 12. So Francesco just easing up the pace, and he goes now into turn 13. So it goes nice and early before the chicane. Weidenheithen tries to close up through the chicane. They're all much as they were. And again, it's Troitsky who's got the opportunity. De Francesco's bought himself that few tenths that he wanted. Or has he? Because he seemed a little bit slow and hesitant coming onto the start and finish straight. So the gaps between them are not huge. So they sprint down towards turn 1. And as De Francesco got a problem because Troitsky goes around the outside of Weidenheithen. Great move, Nikita Troitsky. Oh, but Weidenheithen squeezes him. He just about holds on. It plays Karkozik in. And Alex Karkozik challenges around the outside through turn 3. The Polish driver can't quite do it on the way through turn 3. What about turn 4? Yanni Fitcher bobbing and weaving as well. And for a moment, it looks as if Troitsky had done enough to get second. Weidenheithen held him off, and they were all right with De Francesco as well, as Colombo darts to the inside of Yanni Fitcher and gains 5th. Lorenzo Colombo snatches another position. The German looks to fight back. There's dust being kicked up as they head through turn 6 towards turn 7, and Colombo makes the move stick as they climb out of 8 on towards 9. And then swooping towards turn 10. Now the question is whether or not De Francesco has got a straight line speed issue, because again Weidenheithen appears to be catching him on the straight. Meanwhile, Thiago Vivacqua bobs and weaves behind Guilherme Samaya. Samaya just puts a couple of wheels out over the curb. It gives Vivacqua the chance to challenge. He can't quite do it, so they all then close up onto each other. Felipe Drugovich part of that scrap as well through turn 12 in towards turn 13. This is a great race as they make their way out of the chicane into the final corner, down the start and finish straight. Troitsky is rebounding. He's coming back towards Weidenheithen. Also got Lorenzo Colombo trying to get to Alex Karkozik. And I'll be fascinated after the race to see if De Francesco has got a little bit of an issue, because he just seems to be struggling, punching a hole through the air. It could be the camera angle, it could be something else, as Felipe Drugovich makes the move on Simo Laaksonen. Christian Hahn trying to demote Pedro Cardoso. So they all swoop out of turn 3 towards turn 4. And Christian Hahn still pressurising Cardoso. So they run side by side towards turn 5. There's space there for Hahn to the outside of Cardoso if he wants it. Cardoso, though, just edges him out. Great scrap over 12th and 13th. Meanwhile, the race-leading quintet all running as a train into turn 9, down towards turn 10. Weidenheithen still got Troitsky snapping at his heels, with Alex Karkozik under threat from Lorenzo Colombo. But the leading trio, they're only separated by 1 second, and of the 3 of them, it is arguably Nikita Troitsky who would appear to be the sprightliest at this stage of the race. But for Devlin De Francesco, let's see, he's not making any errors at all through the corners, but Weidenheithen seems to be able to eat a fair amount of ground on the straights. We'll see if that's the case once more as they sprint down towards turn 1. Time De Francesco holding his own. Troitsky getting ever closer to Weidenheithen, but thinks better of pulling the pin on the Indian. Weidenheithen trying to close up to Devlin De Francesco as well as they climb out of turn 2 through turn 3. And again, Weidenheithen right with Devlin De Francesco. Troitsky right with Weidenheithen. We've got 12.5 minutes left on the race clock. We're on the 12th lap of the race, so they've got 7 to go at the end of it, of this tour of the circuit. Great fight in prospect for the lead. Climbing uphill, outer turns 7 and 8. Ooh, using every inch of the road. Now, where are the opportunities going to present themselves? It's one thing, as we're seeing, to close up onto the cars in front. It's quite another to be able to fight your way past. That's the challenge that Nikita Troitsky is grappling with. Just a puff of smoke as Francesco got on the anchors into turn 10. Carlin driver accelerating, then outer 12 into 13. Swooping into the chicane. This would be De Francesco's first victory in the Euroformula Open. He's been on the top step of the rookie podium several times this year. He has had multiple second place finishes. The leading quartet blasts through. And again, Troitsky right with Weidenheithen. Is he near enough to challenge? No, he's not. Still that car length or so adrift, and it means he just can't quite draw alongside under braking, particularly as the braking zone is so short in these cars. So again, he climbs through turn 3 in pursuit of Weidenheithen. Now, interestingly, looking at the speed trap speed last time around, Devlin De Francesco 229 kilometres per hour versus Amir Weidenheithen 234 kilometres per hour, and Nikita Troitsky 238 kilometres per hour in the tow. Therefore, anxious times on the Carlin pit wall. For now, though, De Francesco staying out of trouble. And he's actually been able to build out a lead of almost a second over Amir Weidenheithen over the last couple of laps or thereabouts. Troitsky just a little bit adrift too of Weidenheithen. It plays Alex Karkozic in the RP Motorsport car, and Campus's Lorenzo Colombo into the mix. Through the chicane once more for De Francesco. Just under 10 minutes remain in the race. He's got 6 laps to go. And crosses the timing beam as Troitsky a little bit hesitant. This time coming to start and finish stretch, and he's nowhere near as close to Weidenheithen. In fact, he's vulnerable to a challenge for Alex Karkozic. Karkozic right with the Russian as Troitsky moves across very early to defend. It's going to force Karkozic to go a long way around him, but in fact, for Karkozic, that is fairly straightforward. He blasts past and goes into third. Troitsky slips down to fourth. And before too long, towards the clutches of Lorenzo Colombo. He was just a little bit down as he came out of the chicane, slightly wide, and gave Karkozic the opportunity to pounce. Another look at it. Troitsky moved across the inside line very, very early on. And Karkozic had enough momentum from the toe to effectively slingshot past. Meanwhile, up into 7th place has come Felipe Drugovich. So the early race leader, Drugovich, is romping on his way. There he is in the background, just trying to chase down teammate Yanni Fitcher. Meanwhile, Thiago Vivacqua and Simo Laaksonen getting very, very close. Vivacqua taking the position. That moves him up to 10th. Now it's the turn of Alex Karkozic to try and chase down the race leaders, De Francesco and Weidenheithen. For Lorenzo Colombo, there is the chance to maybe move up into 4th place. As the field head down the start finish stretch once more. This is the first settled lap we have had in quite a while, with no gaps closing up particularly urgently, with the exception of Filip Drugovich, who is inching ever closer to Yanni Fitcher, and Drugovich absolutely flying. only other driver who's matching him for pace, really, Devlin Di Francesco, possibly Alex Karkozic. Di Francesco now 1.1 seconds away from Amir Weidenheithen. He's still a little bit down at in terms of top speed, Devlin Di Francesco. Consistently about 5 kilometres slower than Weidenheithen through the speed track. Now, some of that is going to be punching the hole in the air. Meanwhile, Nikita Troitsky looking to try and come back at Alex Karkozic. Yanni Fittia looking to reel in Lorenzo Colombo. As the field swoop through turn 9. Here is our pole sitter, Drugovic. Drugovic pursuing this group of cars that's going to start before too long, fighting for third position. Still enough laps remaining for another couple of big twists in the tail. In terms of the fight for third in the championship, well, it is looking quite good for Devlin Di Francesco, but it's not going to be decided conclusively one way or another today. Yanni Fittia is going to lose ground to both Di Francesco and Weidenheithen. Through the final turn, down the start and finish stretch, Di Francesco 1.7 seconds his lead. Weidenheithen not really giving away any ground to Alex Karkozic. Nikita Troitsky benefiting a little bit from the tow. Through turn 3, on towards turn 4. Di Francesco caught slightly by Weidenheithen through the first sector, but not really enough to cause him any worry. Likewise, Alex Karkozic, he knows exactly where Troitsky is. Troitsky has got enough of a buffer over Lorenzo Colombo for that not to be a threat over the next couple of laps. Climbing uphill towards the summit of the circuit. Swoop through turn 9, then the run downhill towards turn 10. The Carlin 1-2, the front of the field. And Devlin Di Francesco, he's been extremely quick all year. And that run of 4 podiums in the last 6 races, it's like it's going to become 5 podiums in 7 and a trip to the top step of the rostrum. He's had 4 second-place finishes this season. He's now just a few laps away from making it an outright race victory. He accelerates through to start another lap. Meanwhile, Eliseo Martinez and Christian Hahn busy fighting. And that's going to be decided in favour of Eliseo Martinez. Weidenheithen, second position, just starting to slip a little bit adrift of Devlin Di Francesco. At the same time, opening up some daylight over Alex Karkozic and Nikita Troitsky. Troitsky, though, is still keeping Karkozic in touching distance. There might be a chance for Troitsky to jump back onto the rostrum. Certainly near enough to Karkozic to take advantage if anything were to go wrong. At the same time, it's not quite near enough to be able to fully capitalise. Meanwhile, Lorenzo Colombo having a little bit of a late race surge, moving away from Yanni Fittia, who's got his mirrors full of Felipe Drugovic. It's Karkozic. Runs downhill. He's got a train of cars starting to form behind him. There's 3.5 minutes left on the race clock, so they're going to get through the 19 laps. Around turn 12, on towards turn 13. Colombo trying to close in for Weidenheithen. The advantage that Devlin Di Francesco has got is now, I think, going to be a little bit too much to try and chase down. So across the line, our race leader, then the fight for second, but the fight for third is coming together. Troitsky's got a good run on Karkozic. Karkozic moves across to the inside to defend. Troitsky follows with him, takes advantage of the tow. They go back the other way. Is Troitsky going to launch to the inside? No, he's not. He's just not quite close enough to make it a done deal. but he's going to have one more crack into turn one between now and the flag, unless, of course, he can overhaul Karkozic before then. And it might happen as soon as turn four. He gets a good run out of turn three. Nikita Troitsky gets to within a car length of Alex Karkozic as they dart onto the brakes. Navigate turn four into the left-hander at 5. Throttle gets picked up nice and early by Karkozic. He gets half a car length over Nikita Troitsky. And climbing uphill again, both of them using all the road, maximising that corner exit speed. And Troitsky is just slipping a little bit adrift of Karkozic through the past 3 or so turns, and it means, unless he gains some ground, he's not going to be near enough to make life difficult for the Polish driver by the time they get to turn one for the final occasion. Around turn 12. Another sprint in towards turn 13, and then shifting through 14 and 15. Now, can Troitsky get that run he needs? Can Lorenzo Colombo pull a run from somewhere? Suggestions are that none of them are quite close enough to each other as they start the final lap of the race. Everything crossed for the Carlin team. Is it going to be a 1-2 for them? Certainly they're not under any threat for this fight for third, with Nikita Troitsky still trying to do something about Alex Karkozic. Meanwhile, Filipe Drugovic has been able to move up ahead of Yanni Fitcher. So Drugovic, absolutely phenomenal performance. Despite that moment at turn 4 where he lost the lead, he has been sensationally quick. Slight tyre squeals through turn 5, but nothing that is looking like it's going to alter the order of the race. For Devlin De Francesco, this has been pretty much a dream day. Amir Weidenreuthen in second place, trying to hunt his teammate down. De Francesco, the beneficiary of that off-track excursion for Filipe Drugovic. So they still all queue up behind Alex Karkozic, but nothing doing at turn 10. For De Francesco, it's just a couple of corners to go. The Canadian swings downhill at turn 13. He's just got to negotiate the chicane without any drama. He does just that. So does teammate Amir Weidenreuthen as Devlin De Francesco accelerates through the final turn and takes his maiden victory in the Euroformula Open. It's a Carlin 1-2 with Amir Weidenreuthen in second and Alex Karkozic taking a hard-fought third place ahead of Nikita Troitsky and Lorenzo Colombo. Guillaume Samaya has had his mirrors full all race, but he takes an excellent 9th from Thiago Vivacqua. The Carlin team absolutely jubilant on the pit wall. As well they might be. That was a hugely enjoyable race. Some great scraps all the way through the field. And Carlin rewarded with the 1-2 finish. Check then the final classification. Devlin De Francesco victorious from Amir Weidenreuthen. Alex Karkozic taking third place and the fastest lap of the race. Nikita Troitsky in fourth and third rookie, ahead of Lorenzo Colombo. Filipe Drugovic eventually finishing in sixth. Yanni Fitcher to seventh. Mateus Iorio in eighth, clear of Guillaume Samaya and Thiago Vivacqua. So Malaxinen finishing down 11th, ahead of Pedro Cardoso and Petro Florescu. So Martinez and Christian Hahn having a good scrap with Daniel Pronenko, Ludovico Laurini completing the finishers after we lost Cameron Das and Joey Mawson to collision, and the same for Ben Hingley and Tarun Reddy. So in terms then of the Drivers' Championship, Harrison Scott already crowned, Troitsky likewise for second place, but De Francesco leaps into third with one race to run, clear of Weidenreuthen and Yanni Fitcher. Alex Karkozic now snapping at the heels of Thiago Vivacqua for sixth in the standings. Should also go the way of Simo Laaksonen. Well, the tour back to the pits when you've claimed victory is always a very special lap. And for De Francesco, he's worked so hard for this all year. And it was a tenacious performance here at the circuit to Barcelona, Catalunya. He came under a little bit of pressure as immediately after the safety car restart, but thereafter was able to ease away from Ave Weidenheithen and comes through to celebrate with the Carlin mechanics. Delight for De Francesco. He leaps into the arms of his supporters and well-wishers. Congratulations all around, rightly so. Lots of congratulations. Lots to celebrate for Carlin. Their second victory of the season. Ave Weidenheithen congratulates the race winner. And again, thanks his Carlin team. For Alex Karkozic in third, it was another very strong drive en route for his second podium finish of the season. Absolute jubilation in Parc Fermé. We will hear in a few moments' time from our race winner. Big grin, big thumbs up.
Devlin, at last, nice win.
Oh, it took a really long time. You know, the team did a great job. We were expecting a little bit more from quali, but yeah, it didn't turn out. But, you know, we had a great race car. We knew from Thursday and Friday we had a great race car, and we made it happen.
It didn't look easy, though, and it's warm out there.
No, it's definitely warm. Drogovic was very quick in the beginning. We need to figure out why, especially for tomorrow. But, you know, everyone, big ups to everyone at Carlin. You know, they did a great job.
For now, well done. Congrats. Enjoy.
Felipe Drugovich led away from pole position as Nikita Troitsky and Lorenzo Colombo got bogged down from second and fourth on the grid. It made it very congested as the field fought their way towards turn one, with Joey Mawson being pushed to the grass as Drugovich led the way from De Francesco and Weidenheithen. They all made it safely through the opening turn. The same couldn't be said for turn four. Ben Hingley having a coming together with Tarun Reddy, both cars into the gravel trap and out of the race. There was a lot of ferocious dicing early on. Daniel Pranenko and Lodovico Laurini going wheel to wheel, with Eliezer Martinez being part of that scrap. Fortunately for Laurini, his chances disappeared somewhat with that spin. Then contact between Cameron Dass and Joey Mawson, pitching the Australian and American out of the race at turn one. That brought out the safety car and bunched the field up. Meanwhile, long-time leader Filip Drugovich had taken the trip through the gravel at turn four. So when they got going, De Francesco led the way from Weidenheithen and Troitsky, but the Russian was demoted by Alex Karkozic after that move towards turn one. For Devlin De Francesco, it's a win that had been a long time coming on a red-letter day for the Carlin squad, as they claimed a 1-2 with Ave Weidenheithen across the line in second place, Alex Karkozic completing the podium, and Troitsky rounding out the rookie rostrum. Delight for the Canadian. So on to the podium for Alex Karkozik for RP Motorsport and the Carlin duo of Amaya Weidenathan and Devlin De Francesco. First win for Carlin since Spa back in May. Always a very, very special moment to have the national anthem played in your honour. And for Devlin De Francesco, he will hope in a few years' time it will be played in his honour at the Spanish Grand Prix at this circuit. On to the presentation of the trophies. Third place to Alex Karkozik, really tenacious performance. Amaya Weidenathan, his first trip to the podium since Paul Ricard. For Devlin De Francesco, he's had a few rookie class winning victories this year, but this, the very special moment of the first outright race win, and he is delighted. Carlin team always have so much success in whatever they turn their hand to. As the celebrations start early on the podium, three very happy drivers. And big smiles all around. We'll turn our attention to the rookie podium, which will be comprised of De Francesco, Karkozik and Nikita Troitsky. Once the last few photographs are taken, chance to enjoy super slow motion shots of our top drivers at work. It's only the third time this year that RP Motorsport have not won the race, and what might have been maybe in the case of Felipe Drugovich after that moment at turn 4, just as the safety car came out when he was leading. So the celebrations of the main podium completed, turning our attention to the rookie podium. Third place to Nikita Troitsky. Not the easiest race for the Russian driver at all. Had some great pace though throughout the course of the race. It's just that difficult start really cost him, and then losing out to Karkozik late on. The Drivex team and Nikita Troitsky, they wrapped up the rookie championship last time out in Jerez. He's been top rookie all the way through the year, Troitsky, and has sealed second in the championship. Maybe he can claim that first victory of the year in the final race of the season tomorrow. But for today, it's all been about Devlin De Francesco and the Carlin team. An emphatic 1-2 after a thoroughly entertaining race. Our final race of the season starts at 1 o'clock Central European time tomorrow. Make sure that you join us for that, as it's all smiles on the podium and the drivers make ready with the bubbly. It means it's time for myself, Ben Evans, to say goodbye from the circuit to Barcelona, Catalonia. We'll see you tomorrow.